Hi, it's Annette Tarpley from the United States. I'm a poet and the founder of The Passion of Poetry, which is a poetry forum for poets. And I am happy to be here. And hopefully you all are seeing me. Still trying to figure it out. It looks like I'm live. So welcome to this segment. I have been invited to do Coffee Table Romanticism production for you of some of my poetry and so forth and so on. So welcome to my home from the United States. Excuse me. Unfortunately, it still has Christmas decor. My shed where I keep all my storage is actually can't get to it to store things away, so it still has a Christmas feel to it. I'm very honored and privileged to be here. Joed Akhtar had invited me, and I'm privileged and honored to be in all of your presence. And I hope that you enjoy what I have. So I've been a poet for full-time, really going at it for a couple of years now. I've written a couple of books, of which I forgot to bring with me. They are near but not close by. But I've written two books. My first book, the debut book, was called Poetry Potpourri, and the second book was co-written with Sarfraz Ahmad from the UK, and it's called Two Hearts. So those are the two books that I have written, and I want to make sure that I'm live. It says that I am. Oh, I am, because two people are seeing me. So, hello, Cyrilla. Hello, David. Thank you for replying. Good to see you both. So, I started the Passion of Poetry, my poetry community, about a year and a half ago, and we're already up to 19,000 members. And so we have a very active group, and I have a great admin team, and we run that. I write very simplistic poetry. I believe in the beauty of simplicity, and that's kind of how I do my own poetry. I don't read a lot of poetry, generally speaking. I kind of want to stay fresh and not too tainted in the poetry community. So I do read others' works, but I keep it very limited, and that's kind of how I work. I also recently have started to write some short stories. I wrote my first two short stories. One was written in December, and that was published a couple weeks later in a book. And then the second short story I just wrote was actually accepted in 30 minutes. I was very happy about that. So I'm going to recite some poetry for you, as well as I'll do a short story. I won't do them both, but one of them in particular that I wrote is actually factually based, and it's about me, an incident that I had. I think I'll start with that, and it was the theme of the anthology that it's going into. It was about beauty, and I don't often write a lot about me, but I became vulnerable and did write this story because I remembered an incident that I had a couple months ago and wanted to share it with people because I thought it was important, and the message that I had to give was important. So I told a little bit about myself, and in this poem, which I'm going to find, I didn't print this one out, but in this, not poem, but in the short story, is a true kind of interaction that I had. And so, for some reason, I've gotten blank because I'm getting older, and I forgot what I kept it under. But it's actually, I think, under a category. Keep everything in my little phone here, and it's categorized, but not always is it, I found it. Not always is it easy to find for me. So this is called The Beauty Within. So this is my short story. It's going to be published in April. I have always thought of myself as a loving and compassionate person, one who looks beyond the exterior and searches deep within for the beauty, no longer having the thin, beautiful body I once did. I now faced my own insecurities in the dating world. Men looking for Barbie, but they were no Ken. A pretty and youthful face I retained, but still doubted and continued to wonder if, after 2 failed marriages, anyone could sincerely love and adore me. I was able to find a new love, poetry, my long-lost and rediscovered passion. One day, while treating myself to a lobster dinner and dining alone, yet once again, I noticed an odd pairing of a couple near me. Honestly, my judgmental mind instantly thought they were brother or sister or perhaps good friends. The woman was in a wheelchair, her body riddled with deformities I knew must be congenital. Short arms and feet that were so severely deformed that it rendered them non-functional. Partly out of both boredom and curiosity, I continued to sneak peeks at their interaction. My interest was further enhanced, for soon it became apparent they were in love. I could hear it in the tone of their voice as they interact and laughed with one another, a flirtatious interaction I could blatantly see. I then witnessed the man touching her face gently, caressing her arms and her deformed hand. I looked at my own. They were beautiful and graceful, well manicured, longing to be held but terribly lonely. I finally got the nerve to engage them in conversation. I inquired if they were ready for the holidays. They were smiling as they conversed freely with me. They were celebrating their 25th wedding anniversary. They spoke of their joyous life together, freely expressing their love for one another. I wished them many more years of blissful happiness. Then I turned my attention to the delectable lobster tail that awaited me. I began to think about my ex-husband and how he told me I wasn't as pretty as I used to be. Yet I've been trying to embrace me for the beautiful, kind, caring, and loving person I am, hoping that one day I would find someone that could see the beauty within me that far surpasses this external shell. For within this shell exists a beautiful soul. In the dating world, aesthetics reign supreme, cringing each time a man wanted to see more than a face, on a rare occasion shocked at the nerve of a man to ask my weight. I, myself, could see past a bald head, a wrinkling face, and a protruding belly. How I envied what this couple had, the admiration I felt for the husband surmounted, for he loved the core of his wife. In loving the true essence of her, he found beauty in her exterior. I was convinced in assuming that they felt equally blessed to have found each other, to share a life devoid of superficial acceptance. As they were departing, I raised my glass. Cheers to the both of you. Once gone, I raised my glass again. Cheers to me. Love and embrace the beauty that dwells within. I quickly wiped away a tear. Not a tear of sadness, but a tear of happiness, for I was witness to a beautiful love, a love I thought existed only in fairy tales. Cheers to all of us as we embrace our beauty within, which stands bold against aging, timeless within our core. So that is my short story. And hi, Williams G. Good to see everyone. Thank you. So that is my short story. Kind of ventured into that. So my literary world career has been short. I started writing actually at a young age and always knew I had a writer in me. When I graduated from high school, I either wanted to go into journalism or nursing. I went to nursing, and that's been my career for 40 years. So in doing that, I still had that writer in me. So through the years, I wrote little bits and pieces of things. You know, my children would graduate and from high school, and I'd write something, or something would strike me. It usually has to be something really emotional that would prompt me to write. And when my father and brother died when I was 17 at a young age in a plane crash, and that prompted me to write the first poem that really I think got attention. It was read at their funeral. I didn't read it. but it was read at their funeral, and it was kind of a message, kind of a religious type message. So I did that, and then 4 years ago I went through the demise of my marriage and got into poetry then, wrote a poem. And when I went to get it published, then the publisher said, to write a poetry book you have to have 40 to 60 poems would be a good book. So I started writing, and over 4 months I wrote over 100 poems, and then I've been writing ever since, usually daily, sometimes more than, once a day, but usually daily I write, and I write on anything. You can give me a subject matter and I can write. I can look at a picture and write. So I no longer really need something from within. It's just kind of flowing out finally after all these years. So when people ask me about, sometimes I'll have people that want me to mentor them, and I'll tell them that I'm not formally trained, that they just need to write, and just write and keep writing, and really to actually look at the works of those who are popular within our community, and get frequent attention because they obviously have skills that exist that are good, and you can learn from them. Everybody develops their own skill. I sometimes like to change it up a bit so I don't get kind of boxed into one thing, but it's good to see you all. Thank you for commenting, and I appreciate all of you. So I consider myself a very humble person, I hope, and I try to have a humanistic view, and a lot of times we'll write stories even with some kind of a moral that I'm trying to get across. Yesterday I do a lot of parking lot poetry and work. In other words, when I go out to do something, work or go to a facility. Yesterday I was actually at a nursing home sharing my poetry with the elderly people. Their activities department has me come once a month. And so that started yesterday. So I was there reciting for them. And that was in the afternoon, but I didn't get home until very late because I get so caught up in some things that are going on Facebook, and then I write poetry, so I have a lot of windshield kind of time that I do. So in my ventures yesterday and sitting in my car writing and communicating, I got approached twice, and this happens frequently with me by people who come up to my window and knock on my window. So they're usually wanting money. So one of the things that I did recently is I thought, well, if they're going to knock and I'm going to give them something, I'll indulge them a little bit with my poetry. So I usually share with them something, something with meaning or importance. I'll say, do you like poetry? Sometimes they'll say yes. I started saying that in the States because we're so popular in India. Poetry's so good, and they're very good about really keeping it alive and having events. I don't think we're so good here in the States with it, so I've been trying to promote it more. But in doing so, I've asked people all the time, do you like poetry? And most of them say, no, not really. And I'll say, do you like songs, music? Yes. Well, music or songs are poetry to music. So then I kind of get them thinking sometimes. So the reason why I'm saying this, so I got approached by one lady that was in a wheelchair, and she came and said she needed something to eat and wanted to know if I had money. I often don't have cash, but I happen to have some, so I gave her my money and had her listen to a poem. And then in another spot, somebody came up to me and he wanted to know if I had money. I said, no, I'm so hungry, I want to eat. And I don't like, I thought I could smell some alcohol in his breath, so I don't like to give money. So I said, I will go inside the station there where they have food, and I will buy you food. So that's what I did. I went inside and bought him food. And hopefully do the right thing. But I wouldn't give him money because I would never know if it's going to be used for drugs or alcohol, and don't want to encourage that at all. So there is a poem that I wrote recently. I thought I had put it in my repertoire. here, and I'm searching for it and not finding it. And it is, but it has a more, goes along these lines, and it has a moralistic story to it, and was meant to make people think. And it's called Do You Care? When is the last time you ate? While others are hungry, it's their fate. Do you care? A man on the street cold and alone, while you enjoy the comforts of your home. Do you care? A man robbed, his life lost in violent crime. You sit home, relaxed, drinking your wine. Do you care? A little girl ridiculed about the color of her skin. You look in the mirror, worried about your hair that's thin. Do you care? An old man riddled with arthritis and chronic pain. You worry about hair, stylish clothing, living your life being vain. Do you care? An old woman, poor and alone, can barely make ends meet. You sit at home watching a movie, craving something sweet. Do you care? A man suffers a stroke, frustrated, he can no longer speak and express, while you go shopping for an expensive new dress. Do you care? Visualize that you have a life filled with many misfortunes, a life full of struggles, heartache, and pain. Then you might really care. So that is that. And so I really, I try to reach people. I very often do random acts of kindness and try to touch people in some way. And very often I'll have people say, God sent you here. He must have. So I had that little inner voice that I listened to, and I very much try to do what I think is right, and be kind to people and treat them as I would want them to treat me, because we never know when we're going to have misfortunes in our life or be down and out, or many people are just a paycheck away from being on the streets. And it can be, a couple of years ago, I think 2 or 3 years ago, my son, who was very active in his church, he's a fine young man, he just got married in the fall. He's only 22, he just turned 23, but he was with his girlfriend since he was 14. They had went to homecoming together and been inseparable since, so they graduated from college and got married. But when he had organized a thing through his church where they were feeding the poor, and I used to make jewelry. I had all kinds of bracelets. They were like Pandora-like bracelets, and had brought those with me. And through the line, when people were going to get their food, I'd be on the end of it giving them something on their plate and asking them if they wanted a bracelet, which, I was trying to give to the women. I didn't have a huge amount, but then the men would come by and they'd say, "Can I have one for my girlfriend?" But I had to say no because I didn't have enough. So I think I'm still alive. Anyway, let me, so the other day I had a poet who commented on one of my poems, and he said something to the effect that, he's having writer's block, and he's having a hard time getting back into writing. And so what I told him was, I'm giving you this title, this is what you're to write on. And I said, "The day my pen stopped bleeding." So that's the title I gave him, write a poem about the day my pen stopped bleeding. And I said, I will also write a poem on it. And he actually did write a poem that day. I wrote my poem, and he wrote his. So this is that poem, "The Day My Pen Stopped Bleeding." The day my pen stopped bleeding, the ink no longer spilled. Words no longer came to mind that impact once had thrilled. Searching for inspiration, something to quench my thirst, poetry had ranked supreme. Many times I put it first. Daily I would write, no matter what the cost. Sacrifices I have made. Astounding was the loss. O words, you have forsaken me, no longer within my grasp. I pray the veil will be lifted, begging this empty void won't last. Previous words I have written out of desire, my gnawing need. Return to me, O words, let my pen forever bleed. So that is the day my pen stopped bleeding. Thank you, um, Kawaku, and I hope, Sylvester, I hope I am not mispronouncing your name, and I probably am. Thank you for enjoying Do You Care? And yeah, I often, there's a poem that I wrote recently. It's on YouTube. I have several videos on YouTube. Many of them are done by Alan Johnson. And he has a wonderful voice, does a great recitation, and actually most of the time writes the music for the videos. He's also a musician and then puts the videos together. And he's done about, I think, about 6 of mine. But there's a poem that I wrote, a story that it's called The Legend of Jack. And I actually did not have that prepared, but this is another humanistic type poem that I really, try to have people look in other people's shoes and at their perspective and what we do when we ridicule or, don't give people maybe what they deserve as far as our humanitarian, efforts that we should put to help them. So, The Legend of Jack is a great story, I think, and it has a wonderful story and message, and I'm going to go ahead and read that. I wasn't going to read this one, but it's called The Legend of Jack. Down in a meadow with a mountainous view, surrounded by the woods, sits a shack. The people who live near this hollow know of the mysterious tenant named Jack. Jack lived out his life with no one. He was alone. He was well known as the county's recluse. He had a still in the backwoods, made his own shine, and frequently partook of his juice. When Jack went to town, people would stare, a bit disheveled he would appear. Once a year, Jack would offer his land, a grand celebration with plenty of kegs of beer. It was the only time Jack had company. He had bands playing, plenty of bluegrass. He offered games for the children, chasing chickens. Jack would join in and ran mighty fast. Despite his kind gesture, people would ridicule, scoff, and talk behind his back. If he was down and out and in need of help, no one would lend a hand to poor old Jack. Bordering his land was a rushing creek. With lots of rain, waters flowed high on the bank. Little Sally fell in, couldn't swim, and after she screamed, she quickly sank. Jack came to the rescue, dived in and saved her. People helped her onto the grass. That was the last they saw him. The undercurrent took him. He sacrificed his life for the lass. Funny how things turn around. No one scoffed anymore. Jack's legend continued on. The musicians got together. They wrote a ballad. Jack lived on through the lyrics of song. So that is the legend of Jack. Jack was the hero. They finally acknowledged it. It's funny because they have, I talk in there about bluegrass. And bluegrass is a certain kind of music. Some people would compare it to country music, but I grew up with bluegrass. My dad was a musician, and he played the guitar in a bluegrass band. And so I went to many concerts that he did, many gigs he did, festivals. Was surrounded by that community for many years. So it's a music that's near and dear to my heart. And for a short period of time, my father tried to get me to play something. And for a short period of time, I played the mandolin, but I couldn't play it now. I would like to be able to, but I couldn't play it. I never had a singing voice. My sister did, but he would try to get us to sing. I would try, but we had a couple of songs that we would sing that I could probably do okay because it was within my range. So that's a little bit about my background as a child in bluegrass. And there's actually on YouTube, there's some video, there's some of my dad's music on there. It's still pictures. There's not like a video, so it has the music in the background and a still picture, but it's under Denny Wingert on YouTube. And there's one called the Orange Blossom Special that I play a lot of times for people. It's just an instrumental song, and his fiddle player is kind of the star in that. Their mandolin player is really good in it too. But the fiddle player was actually a classically trained violinist, and Dad got him, so you can kind of hear that classical training in his violin playing. And one of these days I should write a poem about, I've written some poems about my father, but I should write a poem about bluegrass. So there is, hold on for just a moment. I have a dog. Her name is Sadie. And Sadie is at my feet. And sometimes I'm gone for long periods of time. Then I bought a rug this week and put it on the floor and told Sadie, she knew what I was talking about too, I just know she did. I told Sadie to leave it alone and not go to the bathroom on it. So I told her, because knowing that she would probably do that eventually. And when Sadie's in trouble, and she has done that actually, when Sadie's in trouble, I'll say, "You've been naughty, go downstairs." And she'll go down one step downstairs, just one step. And then she'll face away from me because she knows she's in trouble. So it's actually rather comical. Sadie is. She's lovely. So if you give me just a moment, I would like to dedicate a poem, and this is a rather kind of a feministic poem, and just give me a moment, and I'm going to find so I want to dedicate this poem to Anamika Vasu, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. And I had a request to dedicate this to you, so I dedicate it to you. It's called The Beauty of a Woman. Is the beauty of a woman held within her face? Is it shown in her walk, taking strides with grace? Is her beauty seen as she flirts with the tilt of her head, sultry voice lingering in the air with words she said? Does beauty exist in the sparkle of her eye as she walks the aisle, prompting her groom to cry? Does her beauty abound when pregnant with child? Will your heart be stolen with her coyish smile? Is her beauty felt with her soft, gentle touch? Will it cause you to whisper, "Darling, I miss you so much"? Is her beauty in the meal she prepares, if she takes time to prepare, as the heavenly aromas permeate and waft in the air? Does beauty exude from her strong femininity? With her depth of love, will her depth of love reach beyond infinity? Possessing beauty, the variety too numerous to count, beyond the wildest imagination she takes rise and surmounts. So, I think that women have all kinds of beauty, don't we? And it's not just always the external, as was in my short story. So one of the things that we do on I'm sorry, let me not even talk about that right now. Let me talk about, just for a second, about on the passion of poetry. I recently have started, it came up about a week or two ago, a standalone website, so I can have the privilege of publishing other poets' works myself, and I have a select admin from my Passion of Poetry site who are also going to be publishers at the site. So we will, probably randomly select people. I'm trying to figure out how it's all going to go on right now, but Right now, it'll be kind of a reward system, and we'll publish people onto the site. I've been working on the Poets of the Year of last year and trying to get them on, but um, so it's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time and wanting to acknowledge others' works because people have been very generous in acknowledging me, and I'm always very humbled by it when people like my work. So anyway, it's called Pop Star Poetry. That's the name of it. Pop Star Poetry, and then I think it's .us, and that is the site. So we're still refining and working out bugs and things like that. But I very much want to support others and their works, and great admiration of others' works. I recently ran a contest, and I don't do this very often. It was an impromptu contest a couple weeks ago where I said the winner of this contest, I will make a video. I just started doing that, making my own videos. Do a video for the poem of your choice. And the contest was write 4 lines about why you should win this contest. And I was really looking for something in particular. And so I have someone who won the contest. I made her video. It's on YouTube. And it's a wonderful poem. I suggest that you look at it. And the name of it is Door to Yourself. And it was written by Shafia Afzal. And it's just this amazing poem. I was actually so privileged and honored to have done it because it just has a very strong and wonderful message. But she was the winner of it, and I hope she liked it. But you'll have to check it out. It's under my name, Annette Tarpley, on YouTube. Door to Yourself, her beautiful poem. So, I recently wrote one that I live in the town of Roanoke, Virginia, and it's a well-populated area. But we've had an influx of coyotes in the area. And there's been some nights in the past where I was out there and I thought, I heard, like howling and yelping and thought, oh my gosh, it sounds like coyotes. And so I've always been suspect. And then the other night I was out there and I heard it again and I recorded it on my phone. And then we have a local app called Nextdoor that you can go on and you can put things and ask questions to your neighbors and people, converse and discuss things. So I put this sound in, everybody was like, yep, those coyotes, and yes, they do exist in town. So sometimes I infiltrate my own experiences into my writing, and the coyotes are mentioned in this next one. It's called Searching for Spring. Because as soon as winter starts, I'm searching for spring. So, I don't like the winter. Even though I came from Iowa, I live in Virginia now, the winters are very mild here. Iowa, they're not so mild. You get blizzards and it's horrible. I was there last year when my grandmother died. She almost reached 102, a dear, sweet soul who I miss very much. But when I was there, it was minus 49 degrees Fahrenheit, wind chill factor. It was freezing. So this is called Searching for Spring. In the cold, dead winter, she searches for spring. Hindered, the call of the bird, he no longer sings. Naked are the branches, barren and gray. The north wind blows. They begin to creak and sway. Frozen is a lake that once rippled and shined. Bountiful were the mulberries that made savory wine. From the eaves draped down icicles that slowly drip. A man directs a horse and sleigh with the crack of his whip. Snow that is dirty on the medium of the road. Once covered with flowers, 'twas a sight to behold. The night is no longer darkened and glowing from the snow. The farmer no longer harvests with his plow in tow. In the distance, coyotes bark, yelp, and growl. In the air, wood burning in the fireplace, passers-by smell. Oh, where have you gone, glorious spring? When you finally arrive, hearts in unison will sing. So that is searching for spring, and I'm searching for it. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Hi, lovely, my friend, beautiful Gita. Etta. You know how much I love you, Gita. Um, and Gita lives in the United States. It is my wish and desire that sometime we meet in person and I can give her a hug. So, just saying, Gita, someday you're only like maybe 2-3 hours away from me, probably. I could drive that in a heartbeat. Um, One of the things that saddens me sometimes, because on the Passion of Poetry we do award people, and I'm a people builder, so I want to build people. Um, and so sometimes, I have a little bit of a guilt in that all people, I can't award everybody. Um, and sometimes I'll get, a message, I've been on your site, I've been posting forever, I've never been awarded, and, why haven't I been awarded? And sometimes they just slip through the cracks, and maybe we, don't really see it or, analyze it. And other times, sometimes it's somebody who may be new at poetry and may need to develop some skills, and so I'll say, read other people's writings and really study them and kind of hone your own skills. So, hello everyone, good to see you. Thank you for being here and so supportive. I appreciate it. And welcome to my Virginia home. There's a fire back there. You can't see it because I think there it is, see? They're like fake logs, y'all. It's gaslit fireplace. So recently, I write vicariously through my poetry. This does not mean I have anybody or anything like that. Sometimes people feel that. If I write about love or something, I must be in love. But I'm in love with poetry right now. I wrote one recently, and it has, I think, some great lines in it. And it's called If He Believes in Me. If He believes in me, mountains I can climb. No limit to His support. In me, something He finds. Nothing is impossible as long as He believes in me. Not blinded by darkness, He has faith to see. He can see my potential, the best path to take. He is there by my side when I make mistakes. He is my rock of Gibraltar, a force to reckon with. He knows He has my love, reassured by my kiss. He is my knight. He has rescued me from a fate of insecure blunder, of self-degrading hate. He knows the things to say to lift me up, soothing my soul. He is the wine in my cup. His faith is unwavering, always by my side. He is my ebb and my flow, the force of the tide. He is the sun that rises and shines down on me. He is my life preserver when battling rough seas. He never stops believing in me. He never loses sight. He is the moon that shines and makes my life bright. And just when I think I have attained all I can be, He shows me I can be more because He believes in me. So that is If He believes in me. So I don't know. My career in poetry has been short-lived. And I told you I've written the 2 books. We do next month, hopefully, I'm going to get everything together and all done, have the anthology finally coming out. I had to have some delays due to some publishing things that I was going through. And so hopefully we'll have that out next month. Passion Poetry's first anthology that will have, I think, over 120 poets. There are a lot of contributors there as well. And some marvelous work. And the theme is passion for the first book. So it's called Inked with Passion is going to be the name of the book. And then after that, I'm going to venture on writing another solo book because I have a lot of material I need to do something with. So those are my goals in the near future. And I actually, before poetry, it's always been my desire to write a novel. I've always wanted to do that. And so I wrote a poem. I wasn't going to read this one either, but I suppose maybe I should. I've read it a few times. This one also has a message. And this is the poem that I wanted to write the novel on. And I recently started the first 2 chapters, actually. And the poem is also on YouTube. It's called The Ballad of Ned, is the poem. It's about bullying. I was bullied as a child, so I kind of take a stance against it. But it's about bullying, and but when he did the video for me, he renamed it to just Ned. So on YouTube, it's actually just called Ned, N-E-D. But the actual name of the poem is The Ballad of Ned. And I love it because it has this message. It has a little bit of religious tone. And I respect all religions, but this probably has a little bit of a Christian tone. But The Ballad of Ned goes like this. Long ago, and oh so far away, in the deep throes of the South, lived a man named Ned, a gentle soul, born with a deformity of the mouth. Through the years, it's been said that his mama sheltered him from harm. He grew up caring for the land and animals on an old country farm. Then the time came for him to go off to school, an atmosphere of unrest. His mama packed his lunch, walked him to his bus, and whispered, "Mama loves you best." The children teased and taunted him. They were mean and downright cruel. He was bullied all day, but nothing was done. The school had no set rules. After school, he would walk home alone, tears streaming down his face. When he finally got home, Mama wiped away his tears and greeted him with a warm embrace. She said, "Son, I declare I taught you better. I told you you're covered in armor, or you're protected in blood. You're a child with God. You're not merely the son of a farmer." The next day, he went to school. He stood up taller, a confident smile on his face. He went to the front of the class, approached the chalkboard, and the writings he began to erase. With the chalk he wrote, "God is love. I am love. And my love I extend to you." Tears rushed down the teacher's face, falling down the cheeks of students too. From that day forward, no one bullied the sweet young and disfigured Ned. He was blessed with a life full of love, and always remembered the words his mother had said. So that is The Ballad of Ned, and near and dear to my heart. I created Ned actually on a picture prompt, and just kind of went with it and came up with The Ballad of Ned. But again, it has a message, and so I do a lot of storytelling. Not always. So sometimes I tell stories, but I enjoy doing stories because I like kind of using my imagination, taking people to different places. And I think that's the great thing about poetry, because you can do so much with it. Whatever kind of message you want to send, whatever's in your heart. You want to create something, fictionalized. So I think that we as writers and poets, have a great avenue to, express not only our heart and soul, but also our creativity. So we can be very creative in it, and I like being creative. I like to paint pictures and use imagery, and I like to take people on the ride with me. Recently, there was a poetry contest that I entered, and I thought I printed this one out. I'm trying to look for it. I'm not seeing it. But in the a poetry contest. It was, the theme was, I think, your imagination. I think that was kind of the theme of the thing. And so, and Cirilla, actually, who was on here, had also entered this contest. She got a gold award. I got a silver award, but her beautiful poem got the gold. I was so happy to see that, as well as the others as well. So this poem, I guess, gives me, shows, the imagination part, and kind of where I like to take things. And so this poem is called My Imagination Runs Wild. Few gifts was I bestowed, none really developed as a child. As I reached middle age, my imagination ran wild. I write about travels to a foreign land I never went, conjuring tales in my mind before the day is spent. Journey with me, I'll take you on a magical ride, where nymphs abound and fairies reside. Lush is the fertile land where neon flowers bloom. Hang on to my wings, to a new destination we will zoom. Psychedelic is the sky, billowing clouds below. We have reached the highest mountain capped with snow. In the heights of heaven we hear the angels sing. Back to earth, let me show you a delightful scene. A beautiful meadow where wild lilies grow. A warm breeze in her face, giving an effervescent glow. Let us now swim with the dolphins in the deep blue seas. Comically they frolic in these waters, they are free. I will show you a land where man harmoniously exists. Love will surround you, infectious, it is hard to resist. It is blissfully wonderful when my imagination runs wild. I can only surmise what would have happened if it began as a child. So that is my imagination one. So one of the things that I wanted to, I'm trying to see if I think I read everything I printed out to you and more. Trying to think if there is anything else in the message. Sometimes I write, I've done some haiku, which I don't, I enjoy haiku sometimes, but it's just, it doesn't take much time for me, it's, 3 lines are done or whatever. So recently went into the Tanjco, and hi Kathy Jo Blakely, she's been venturing in on me with some of that poetry as well sometimes. So with the Tanjco, T-A-N apostrophes G's K-O, you have an ascending and descending order. So you start with either 1 or 5 words, and they're words, not syllables, versus haiku. So you start with 1 word down to 5 words, and then 5 words down to 1 word. So it's this ascending, descending kind of thing. So I've written a few pieces like that. I find it challenging because you want to convey a message in a few words, and you want your reader to understand what it is you're talking about and kind of where you're leading them to. So, so one of the things I've been involved with in the last couple of days is plagiarism. Not personally involved, I don't plagiarize, ever. Although I was accused of it one time. I should read you that poem real quick. And this, I should read you that poem, and then I'll go back to the plagiarism. So this is kind of where I wanted to stop, is on this thing in promoting literature. But the poem that I wrote, that someone accused me of, and very much offended me on a unit, he listed or named some famous Indian poet, of course, that I have never heard of, and so I was greatly offended by it. And anyway, so this poem that I wrote is called On Angel Wings, and I've read this to many people, depending on what's happening, if they've lost a loved one, find it very comforting. And the thing about On Angel Wings is, well, I did get accused of plagiarism thing, which I didn't do. But it also is the poem people say that should be read at my funeral. And I agree. I actually sent it to my children here. Someday, here you go. But on angel wings. When my life on this earth is over, when my last breath is done, I will fly away on angel wings, my sights set on the rising sun. Over the mountains I will fly, passing the eagle along the way. I will feel no more pain and sorrow on this, the first of my eternal days. High above the vastest ocean, beyond the deepest blue sea, light and free-spirited my soul, elated at last, reveling in ecstasy. No more tears shall I then shed, no more sad rivers will I cry. If a drop does befall my face, a tear of happiness will leave my eye. Remember me as one who loved to the deepest core of my heart, an everlasting memory retained, the moment we did last depart. This earth was but a short journey, sometimes lonely I did roam. Now that I have my angel wings, I'm now flying off to home. So that is angel wings. So, um, so recently we've had some infiltrations. Well, it's been going on for a while of some plagiarism, and I take a very strong stand against it. And sometimes people continue to do it after they have been approached about it, and it's a very I personally haven't seen anybody do it with mine, and I think I would even as passionate as I am against it now, I can only imagine what it would be if someone was actually taking my material. And so I feel very passionately that we as a poetry community should stand against such things and expose it when it exists, and stand for integrity within our community. So recently I wrote, just last night, my parking lot poetry, I wrote a poem called Deceived. And so this is in that Tanjko order, the 1 to the 5 and the 5 to the 1. So, it's a little different than most of my poetry. Paper before her, pen remains still, her mind not creating, word art worthy of notice. The writer dwells not within, devoid of creative flair, she searches elsewhere, finding words, perfection. Thief, she stills others' toiled words, thrill within her surmounts, claiming works as her own. Accolades and praises she receives, while violating literary code. No remorse felt, she continues, deceit. Elation, noticed, received, to counterfeit works. Attention is unjustly given to a manipulator of conscience. The responsibility lies within us to no longer tolerate the deception weaved. We have been deceived. So that is deceived. So thank you all for joining me very much. I appreciate your support, and very much want us as poets to always support each other in the poetry community. It's very important that we create this positive environment where we can build each other up and grow within it. I don't think of my site as the end all for poetry communities. I respect and very much promote all the sites that are credible and promote their poets. So I think that we have a community where we can really come together and promote poetry and enlighten people that poetry is actually a good thing. I think we have a lot of work sometimes to do in the United States, and I'm trying to promote it. So I'm sure I'm not a one-man band or one-woman band, but very much want to have the enthusiasm here in the States that I feel like exists other places, and I'm not seeing so much here. But I very much admire and support all of your works, and love and blessings to you all. I want you to know that I always want to be in the community a person that is positive, and that's why I created my site, was just because I wanted to create something that was positive after I got, told something negative on a site. So I wanted to create the passion of poetry as one that I could build people up and not tear them apart. Um, I think that people thrive more on positivity. So I don't want to, get into the negative aspects of things. If somebody's, poetry isn't, up to par, I think there's kind ways to maybe help them, become a better poet. So thank you very much for your support. Love and blessings to you all. And hope to see you all on Facebook and around the community. And keep writing. Yeah. Don't let your ink well dry up. Keep writing, keep it flowing, and keep your creativity coming. And love and blessings to you all. Goodbye from Virginia.